Yo,
There you are. Hey, everyone. How you doing?
hi.
It's
Welcome to
Friday.
the Friday live stream.
It's
Just
Friday.
the novella boys this week. Evan was caught in Hartford, of all places.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
He did send us
so-
a picture, if you want to see.
yeah,
He
let's see
met
it.
Billy West.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, look
He's
at
a comedian, voice actor,
Oh, yeah, he's a...
We
impressionist.
interviewed him at
voice actor.
Dragon Con like 10 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
it was an epic interview, even though I wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, where were you, Bob?
I was standing on the side because it was.
They
like
only let 2 people in. Or
Yeah,
something,
we wanted to
two.
limit to like maybe 3 people, I think. But I was right there, laughing my ass off.
That's ridiculous.
He liked us, if I remember.
Yeah, during that interview, if you remember, we were watching the people before us.
Yep.
And it was really uncomfortable because they were just looking at him and kind of like, smiling, like totally fanboying out on him, and then being like, "What's it like being able to do voices?" Like it was like, did you think of any questions for him?
You could tell he was like frustrated, like, oh yeah, I've heard that question a million times, and it's not even a good one. You could definitely sense that from him, from the interview. He
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he might have even said something explicitly about it too.
Yeah,
So
Jake.
then when we were interviewing him, he told us, I asked him, about it, and he was like, yeah, they ask all the same questions, and it's like blah blah, super mundane. So we gave him a good joyride of an interview. Actually asked him some questions that he thought were interesting.
Jake, can you bring your mic a little closer? It's a little quiet.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Oh boy.
Is that better?
Okay, that's funny. Thank you.
Better.
So,
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, Steve and I talked a little bit about it today, was Joe Rogan got COVID and he got a whole smattering of different treatments. And then he gets back on his show, and he is tripling down on his misinformation. So we were watching a couple of videos of his show, just to get a sampling of, what's he actually saying, what's the deal. And, it's just complete crap. The information that he's sharing on his show is it's garbage.
Yes, it's painful to watch. It's just like 3 people, none of whom really know what they're talking about, just speaking out their ass. Like really, I mean, one guy is worse in that he's full of misinformation and thinks he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't have the background to put it all together. But of course, and that's the expert they're relying upon.
Wow.
But none of them are clinicians, right? It's always, obviously, I'm a clinician, so whenever people are speaking within your specialty and they don't know what they're talking about, it's especially painful.
Isn't he saying that that he attributes ivermectin at least, partially for his recovery?
He had on 2 people. One of them was an author who was shilling her book, which I can't put any author down for doing that. But she just wanted to comment about ivermectin, and it really, like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Ian, can you play it part of that video?
Yeah, let me bring this one up. So here, this is the horse dewormer, right?
Yeah, this is the one. This is
Yeah.
Okay, let me
watch a
play
little bit
this
of this.
one. You should be able to hear it.
Yeah.
I want to say something about horse dewormer. I want to talk about her book, but I want to say something about horse dewormer first.
I definitely want to talk about your book.
Yeah, but I mean, never before have I wanted to talk about horse dewormer, but I feel like it now. So ivermectin, the drug that shall not be named, sure, it works against worms in horses and other organisms, but it's literally understood. It's on the WHO's list of essential medicines and has been for years. The discoverer and developer won the Nobel Prize for it in 2014-15, I can't remember. And it's literally understood to have antibacterial and antiviral qualities and works against lots of other RNA viruses like Zika and dengue and yellow fever. And no one is talking about that. So is it not as effective as some people think it is against COVID? Maybe, sure. But is it dangerous? No. It's been given hundreds of millions of doses. And is it effective? It seems so, but given that it's safe, why are we using it?
And what you were explaining to me,
All right, that's enough.
That's
the
enough.
actual dosage.
So she has absolutely no idea what she's talking about on multiple levels. So first of all, like saying that a medication is quote unquote safe is a meaningless statement,
Yes.
and only somebody who has no idea what they're talking about and
The
no
dose
clinical
makes the
experience.
poison.
Yeah, it's not only that, but is it safe in who? So this is a prescription medication. There are reasons why certain medications are prescription medications because, for example, they may have a lot of drug-drug interactions, or they may not be safe in certain populations with certain diseases. And that certainly is the case with ivermectin. It has a lot of drug-drug interactions, for example. And so you need a medical history and somebody to know if they can safely prescribe it to you. So it's saying that it's quote unquote safe is a meaningless statement. It's been given in lots of doses by physicians, which doesn't mean that it's safe for people to take without the guidance of a physician. And that's what a lot of people are doing. And because it is available for veterinary use, some people are bypassing the need for a prescription by buying veterinary formulations of ivermectin. And they don't know how to adjust the dose properly. One guy drank an IV formulation of it. Other people have taken like massive overdoses of it. Yeah. And so, we don't have good numbers on it yet, but what we do know is that there's been a spike in calls to poison control. And there are now like the individual case reports of people coming in with serious toxicity, serious reactions. So that's just nonsense to say it's quote unquote safe. So just give it to 100 million, give it to 200 million people. What could possibly go wrong? So that's one thing that was incredibly naive. The fact that so she's like, oh, this guy won a Nobel Prize for it. So what? Not for its use in COVID, for its use as an anti-parasitic medication. So that's just completely irrelevant. That's
she's cherry picking
non sequitur.
It's complete bullshit.
It's a total non sequitur.
It's a very effective drug for what it does. But she said, well, since it's prescribed, it's safe. So it's a safe drug. So why not use it? Why not use it if it works even marginally?
Right. So we do have studies looking at its use for COVID. So it like in vitro, in preclinical studies, there's some antiviral activity. That just makes it a plausible hypothesis. It doesn't mean that, okay, let's give it to hundreds of millions of people then. So it's just ridiculous. Most of the time, things that look promising in a petri dish, 99% of the time, they don't pan out in clinical use for whatever reason. Even if you're looking at just extending the indication for an existing drug, most of the time it's just not going to pan out because, looking at viruses in a petri dish is not looking at infections in actual living human hosts. So there have been a number of studies. There's a couple of recent systematic reviews of those studies, and they say basically one of two things. They say either the data is weak and we can't draw any conclusions, or there's no evidence that it's effective, right? So basically, there's no evidence that it's effective in COVID. Some of the more reliable studies really don't show any consistent effect. Like for example, if you'd like to see that it reduces the probability of going on a ventilator, right? In addition to reducing the probability of dying or reducing the probability of getting hospitalized. Not just people saying, I feel a little better, not just subjective reports of symptoms. So at this point, it is 100% experimental for COVID. It should not be taken outside the context of a clinical trial. It's irresponsible to do that. It's irresponsible to recommend that. Yep. There is no good reason to think that it's effective. That's like just a completely naive statement to leapfrog from preclinical data to mass, use in a population in the middle of a pandemic. It's just ridiculous. I don't know if you're going to play the other clip, Jay. Did you want to do that? Or just want to
yeah. I can cue that out of the
play that really quick. I'll go on rant phase 2.
Before
you ever play a video, Ian, I want to say that.
And here we go. Okay, I'll cue it up here. So with this one, where did you want to go from? Because I have it from the beginning.
Just the guy talking about the vaccine.
From the beginning.
Get the flavor of that.
He kind of does. It's only 5 minutes long, so here we go.
Yeah. Well, it's not let's play 1 minute.
Go ahead, Jay.
Here we go.
Very good. Very good.
I might have to veto that idea, Jay.
I'm sorry.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Can you hear it?
Garrett Vandenbush said this is going to become a pandemic of variants, and he talked about immune escape. And that has been very controversial. But
Could you explain that to people?
Sure. What he argued, and let's just say...
Could you explain who he is, too?
Sure. He is a immunobiologist. He is training as veterinary.
Oh, he's a vet?
He has training in the relevant area of vaccination technology.
Nice.
He was a guest on Dark Horse. People can look up my discussion with him. It is, many people regard it as a very good way to understand what he's saying, because often he speaks about matters that are quite technical. And anyway, I did my best in that podcast to make it non-technical so that people could understand it. In any case, what he argued was that the fact of these vaccines being very narrowly targeted, right? These vaccines contain a single subunit of a single protein, and they are being deployed in a way that is unusual. They're being deployed.
Oh,
Whoops.
did it stop?
Does it
Hold
stop?
on. Yeah, let me.
That's
Go ahead,
fine.
okay.
I could summarize what he
Hold
said.
on. Give him a few more seconds.
Okay,
An
yeah, he's just
active
getting to it.
pandemic.
There. Is
Right?
that
When
good?
we immunize
Yeah.
against something like measles, the expectation is you will develop your full immunity with almost no chance of encountering measles, right? In this case, what we have are vaccines that are leaky, in which they do not provide full sterilizing immunity. They are narrow, and we are effectively creating an intense evolutionary pressure to cause the spike protein, of which this one subunit is what is contained, the information for it is contained in the vaccines. We are putting intense evolutionary pressure on it to change so that the antibodies and other immune cell recognition mechanisms that are trained by the vaccines are incapable of finding the pathogen
that's enough.
when
Yep.
it gets in. This is what causes a break.
Stop him. There we go. Go
All
ahead.
right, now let me explain why this guy has no idea what he's talking about.
All right,
So
very good.
so this vet came up with this hypothesis, which elements of it are reasonable, but it's like typical of a crank who has like this technical knowledge but can't get out of his own way, like can't put it all together into a coherent theory. And in any case, he pitched his idea to the medical community, and they said, "Nah, that we don't buy it," with good reason. Right? So you don't have to weave any conspiracy about why they didn't think it was a good idea. So what he's basically saying is, if we vaccinate people with the mRNA vaccines, because they're targeted against one component of the spike protein, it's going to cause variants to arise that are not affected by the vaccine. So, all right, in a very narrow sense, that's correct. That has the potential to happen, but you have to compare that to not getting vaccinated, right? What's the relative risk of having a pandemic where we're not vaccinating people versus having a pandemic where we are vaccinating people? And so, his point was that, this will increase the emergence of new variants. And now he's declaring victory because there are new variants emerging. Of course, there were new variants emerging before there were any vaccines. So he has no reason to do a victory lap. And in fact, he said that it would produce variants specifically that had a vaccine escape, which has not happened yet.
Yep.
So it's not happening. These variants are emerging that have nothing to do with the vaccine. They're spontaneous mutations. So in fact, if you look at both scenarios, the more we vaccinate people, the less the virus circulates and the lower the chance of variants emerging. So he's got it exactly ass backwards because he's just focusing on his pet theory and and not engaging with the community and listening to all the other experts who don't think he's onto something. And so what cranks do is when they don't convince the community, they say they portray themselves as victims. They say there's a conspiracy. Everyone else is stupid or narrow-minded or closed-minded or whatever. And unless you're Einstein, chances are 99.999%. Nope, you're just a crank, and you should be listening to all the other experts in the world. So, in fact, the vaccines are working very well. There hasn't been any vaccine escape of variants. And our best chance of preventing new variants from emerging would have been getting to herd immunity, which we're not getting to because of jerks like him who are spreading these half-baked hypotheses without any evidence, and in the face of headwind from actual experts, that they then weave some conspiracy theory to undermine public confidence in institutions and experts, etc. So listen, nobody wants this pandemic to keep going. The infectious disease experts around the world are trying to fight this pandemic. They want to do what's correct, what's going to be the most effective. No one bought your idea. That's the bottom line, is that it wasn't a full coherent evaluation of the entire situation. And but conspiracy theorists like Joe Rogan love it because he's an outlier, a maverick outlier, right? So that's the person he's going to listen to, not the consensus of experts who are saying something more less dramatic, less counter authoritative. So it's just it just fits their narrative. And they always pepper what they're saying. Like if you listen to both of those videos all the way through, it's like, oh yeah, like we can't mention the name of ivermectin and no one's talking about this. There's always this conspiracy in the background.
Yeah.
It's just all bullshit. It's just, nope, you're just naive, you're ignorant, you're not a clinician, you don't know what you're talking about, and you have the hubris to think that you know better than the actual experts, and you don't. And in this case, there's a worldwide pandemic and you're causing demonstrable harm. So just shut up. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the point. I mean, there is no way to shut these people up.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan is going to continue to have on these, half-cooked people with their ridiculous theories, or just repeating other people's, like that guy that we just listened to. It's not even his work. It's some other guy's work that he's repeating. He's trying to just explain.
From 9 months ago. So this we had the conversation 9 months ago. Sorry, you lost. Go away.
Yeah.
It's
worse than half cooked, Jay. It's half baked.
Yeah. And so I'm increasingly getting frustrated with Joe Rogan and his complete nonsense and his show, which is a waste of energy, right? Like what?
Yeah.
There's nothing that can be done other than educate the public, but his audience is so huge. I mean, this guy's audience is gigantic.
Yeah.
And he's filling all of these people's heads with complete anti-science rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm concerned, we need to pass laws to stop this level of misinformation. Like people build empires on this level of misinformation. The whole, I don't know what I'm talking about. His whole shtick, that he's just innocently asking questions and talking and just having conversations with people. During a pandemic, when people's lives are at stake, all depending on the information that reaches them and who they trust and which path are they going to go down. People like Joe Rogan, like he would never be able to admit this, but what he does kills people.
Yeah.
And he can go fuck himself for being so knowingly ignorant. That guy is a complete moron. And anybody that listens to him is in danger. Mm-hmm. And sure, he gets high on his show and he talks about funny stuff, and he is funny and he is charismatic. I give him all of that. I used to love him on Fear Factor before I heard him talk on his own. The guy, he has a shtick. It's good. He's got some good stuff there, but he just decided to veer into talking about crazy health issues.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Joe? What do you know about health issues? Why are you bringing these idiots on? Like, you would rather talk to those people than talk to people that actually have a degree, that are the actual experts, that actually come up with the solutions to worldwide medical issues. Okay, so you'd rather talk to a guy that's reiterating the nonsensical ravings of some vet who's not even qualified to talk about what he's talking about, right? That's the guy you bring on your show? Wow, great quality control, Joe.
When you have an alternative hypothesis like that, you should be fighting that out within the scientific community, not making your case to the public. Because unless you
science works.
unless you have some level of expertise, you're not going to be able to parse why this is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but once you
beyond irresponsible.
It's totally irresponsible.
The screwed up thing is that the actual bar here for these people that he brings on his show and the information that they bring, the bar actually is it anti-establishment?
Right.
Is it counter?
That's a feature, not a bug. Absolutely.
Yes, it's the whole point is he wants people to come on and question these things and all that, because that probably entertains him. It probably checks a lot of boxes in his head. So we have,
and that's why it's got a huge audience.
Yeah.
You optimize your message for entertainment, for outrage, for being unusual. It's the tail wagging the dog. That's what gets you clicks. That's what gets you views. Sometimes the truth is boring, and saying it doesn't really may not necessarily help you. But if you have any integrity whatsoever, that's what you do, right?
Yeah, somebody in the chat brought up a good point. These people aren't necessarily idiots, but you basically are an idiot when you're talking out of your expertise, right? You could have general excellent.
We're all idiots on some topics.
On most topics, let's face it.
You should just know enough not to talk out of your ass about them.
Exactly.
Especially on a podcast to millions of people, or just fine. Get on. His job should be to get on reliable experts and then have a it takes more skill to make the truth entertaining in some cases, to limit yourself to things that are responsible and true but still manage to be entertaining, and it takes a lot less skill to just say whatever shit comes to your head, whatever is entertaining, whatever's can't think of the word I'm thinking
conversationally interesting at the time, right?
Sensational is what I'm going for. So right. If you're going for the thing that's the most sensational, that's cheap. Anybody could do that. What takes more skill is trying to be engaging without crossing that line to misinforming your audience.
Yeah.
But that's not. But obviously, that's not the baseline.
Did you guys? Zeno posted he said Bill Burr called Rogan a gorilla who knows nothing about science and should shut up to his face on his own show.
Yeah, but it was kind of jokey. It was kind of. I mean, they're buddies, so it's like it's a little bit like he just was like, Joe, you're an idiot. Like, shut up. We shouldn't be talking about. And they're smoking pot, so it's like they're kind of just.
It's
still. I like the word.
Having Bill Burr be like call him out, because it seems to me, and I've listened to Bill Burr talk a lot as a comedian and just commenting on stuff. He seems pretty sharp and with it, like he seems to get this situation. He was correctly commenting on Joe Rogan's BS at the right times, about the right thing. So he does get it. So I find that hysterical. You get an epic comedian like Bill Burr who openly just admits he doesn't know it, and neither does Joe, and we shouldn't even you shouldn't even be talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
whether he was laughing or not, it's still legit.
Yeah, he's a funny bastard.
Yeah, so I just can't. I'm getting so fatigued by this pandemic as it is. All the anti-mask. The signs on the side of the street I drive by every freaking time I get in the car. I got to read these ridiculous comments by people out there that want to push their pet theory on the rest of the world. That our fading respect for expertise can only lead to bad things, right? I understand that there are people out there that feel like the institutions that back up the experts have failed humanity in different ways or whatever. Sure, institutions can fail people from time to time and everything, but the baseline concept here is there are people. You ever see the I love this image. Somebody sent it to me at one point. It's basically a pyramid, and at the very bottom of the pyramid, all of us, most people exist at the bottom of the pyramid when it comes to most knowledge bases. Then you have people that are educated, like people that are like, studying to get their PhD, and they're at the next layer. And then you have another layer after that. And then you have another layer after that. And the very tippy top of that pyramid, this is for every expertise in the world. They have their own pyramid. At the very tippy top of that pyramid, that's where the experts are. And as it goes up, the numbers go down. So there's very few experts in the world on almost any topic, which means the vast majority of people don't even have an educated opinion, right? We either trust on some level, not blindly. I'm not saying like believe every single thing that you hear or whatever, but trust in the process, trust in the, when the world's virologists and medical professionals are telling us the same information.
Yeah.
We trust that information. Why? Because who the hell are we to say that they don't know what they're talking about? Right? Even in Steve's highly educated position as a doctor, he's not an expert in viruses. Steve listens to the freaking.
No, I wouldn't substitute my own opinion for the consensus of expert opinion in medicine. Even in neurology, unless and within academia. I mean, like if you're like within the world of academia, for example, like we have discussions about like who should speak at grand rounds or whatever. I just remember like one time. One of my colleagues commented about a proposed speaker. It's like, why would we want to listen to that guy? He's not a world expert on this topic.
Yeah.
Like, why would we even want to listen to this guy? Even though he's an expert, he's not a world expert. So he's not going to give us the definitive cutting edge information.
Yeah, he wasn't expert enough. He qualified. He was at the lower part of the tip of the pyramid.
The second tier.
Yeah, and he wasn't good enough. So again, like what I'm saying is now we bring it all back to Joe Rogan. Now you got these 3 people sitting around microphones with millions of people listening to them talking about, Joe, look at me, shit you don't know. You don't know what you're talking about. Right. Yeah. Literally like, whoa, this is crazy, dude. Getting high on freaking the air, inviting people on that are pretending to be experts in information that they don't even, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
And fucking people are dying. It's worse now than it ever was. This pandemic is worse now than it ever was. Oh my God. I can't take these people anymore. It's like, what are we going to do? We sit around and literally slowly watch our world chip away. It drives me insane. And Joe Rogan won't have Steve on his show because you're full of shit, Joe, and you know it. You are full of shit. Thank you. I'll stop now.
All right. Look what I found in the basement.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Good segue.
I love that guy. Bob, that's one of my favorite things you own. Go. Look at his hands.
Hold
on. Or no. Go away. Put on a mask. Go away. Put on a mask. I love him.
Bob, the fact that I watched you play with that thing for a minute and I was fully entertained, and nobody was harmed in this mindless entertainment that Bob just presented with. I'll make that point.
I love that guy.
Well, Steve, I appreciate your ability to cut through this stuff. I love that you are at a very good sweet spot of having the medical knowledge, all the years that you spent reading all of the information that you did, the fact that you're an expert in skepticism. I just love hearing you go for it because you cut right through all of it and you get right to the point. And it's refreshing.
Yeah, it's not hard. Shooting fish in a barrel, though, because they're making very basic mistakes. It's like, well, it works in a petri dish. Let's give it to 100 million people. You don't have to be that much of an expert, to know that that's nonsense.
But we still need to hear that, Steve.
I know.
Just cutting through the nonsense.
All right, let's cut to something a little bit more interesting.
Yes, Ian.
What do you got?
Do you want to show us? Bob,
do you want the video?
Ian has like 20 videos that we sent him over the last couple of weeks of crazy
stuff
he found on Reddit. So, Steve, you want to watch a few of these?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe a bit of a left turn. Here we go. That's a little pink.
Oh my God. All right, hold on. That guy can turn his head more than anybody on the planet. Did you see that?
He could get a job as like a stunt man. When a bad guy grabs a head and goes breaks it. They could do it to him and they won't kill him because they could. He's got such a range of motion. That's crazy. I'd like to see his his neck must be like, what is it? I mean,
he probably has a disorder, with loose ligaments and connective tissue. So he's hyperflexible.
Yeah.
That's weird.
He got his chin over his shoulder. That is unreal.
Even Jim Carrey can't do that.
When I first saw the video, when I think that you sent that to me, when I first saw it, it actually confused me. I didn't understand what was going on.
What's happening?
Yeah, I literally was like, I was disoriented for a second because I'm like, is he wearing a mask? Is the face superimposed digitally? I didn't quite get it. But
I've seen that before. I knew it as soon as I saw it because I've seen that before. That's weird.
Bob, look what Fluff Machine said. It sounds like
stay in the corner room.
Read it out loud, guys.
If I could do that, I would. Yeah, go ahead. Bob.
If I could do that, I would stand in the corner of a room and not say anything.
With your face facing the people, right, and your body facing the wall. Yeah, that'd be great. That guy would be great in a haunt, right, Bob?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Okay, so this one you sent me. I don't know if there's any audio, but
I would turn the audio down.
Yeah, that other one.
This is awesome. Check this out. All right, what we're looking at here, guys, is we're looking at augmented reality art. So if you wear augmented reality glasses, you could see what the artists have done to use augmented reality to one up their artwork. And I just think it's fascinating. Like, look at this. This is what you would see at the exhibit wearing the glasses.
That's cool.
It's just a really neat idea.
By coincidence, next weekend, I'm going to a virtual reality art show featuring Van Gogh.
I think I'm doing that with you, Steve, aren't I?
Did you come down to Philly with us? I don't think so.
Oh, I thought Courtney, my wife, bought tickets. I thought we were going with you guys.
Maybe. We're meeting, Julia and Jake down there. But that should be a lot of fun. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if they have any augmented reality. And this is, of course, Van Gogh, so it's not artwork that was made to incorporate AR. But I love that idea. I love the idea of having AR artwork.
Steve, if I'm thinking of the same thing, like they're gonna use projection screens to put like animated art done by Van Gogh in a room that you're going to be in. You're going to be immersed inside the art. It's going to be
that's the idea.
Yep. Yeah. That's really awesome. But I like seeing augmented reality snippets like that because it really is a sign of what's to come. Like at some point in the near future, we're going to be using augmented reality to do things in our everyday life, and it could be profound. You could be you could be wearing glasses like mine, and they would be augmenting what you see, where you could change the way a room looks in your house. You could change the color of the room. You could put artwork on a wall that isn't there. It would look like it's there.
I think in some ways AR has more potential than VR because you don't have the vertigo problem because you're still interacting with the actual physical world. There's just a spin on top of it.
And that's and because AR is applied by definition to everyday life. You could do VR for a half hour or an hour, like, oh, that was awesome. But then the rest of your life, there's going to be AR poking in to your reality to augment the things that you see with it. Not just overlays, Jay, but I mean like text, like oh, here's your friend Bob. Today's his birthday. Wish him a happy birthday. It's just things that you're gonna forget. That'd be great for people with Alzheimer's. Like that's your grandson Steve. That kind of stuff. Where like, oh shit, wouldn't even remember his name. Or just a million different things that.
How about
it's going to be
giving
ubiquitous.
a lecture? Giving a lecture.
Oh my God!
The ability
have your notes right in front of you.
Right in front of you. Yeah,
that'd be fantastic.
Bob, you can haunt a house with AR,
that's going to be
or a field or whatever, just completely digitally.
Yeah, it's going to be that. Yeah, I mean, we're doing digital projections in a bigger way this year, and AR haunted houses and incorporating that with the real practical props is good. Yeah, it's going to be a thing. Cool. It's going to absolutely be a thing.
I'm sure entertainment will come first, and then like heavy duty practical. Don't even begin to talk about what it would do for industry and for engineering and things like that. God, it could just
all that boring stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
the efficiencies are going to go way up.
Yeah.
To have that critical data right there in front of you, overlaying.
Ian, hit us up with another one.
Okay, here it comes. This music might be loud, so everybody watch your ears. Hold on.
Right, so these people are mimicking the crushing of random objects, and some of them are so inspired.
This one was my favorite.
Yeah. Very TikTok.
What's this?
I love how their clothes match.
I know. It took a very human position at the end.
So creative.
And then she goes away.
Yeah.
It's funny.
You know, who thought of that? Let's have people act out things getting squished. I loved it. It wasn't. We're losing some frames here.
Oh, is it lo-fi? Yeah, I should play it.
Maybe it's just for me, but God, she needed to be farting. Maybe she was.
That was good. Yeah, you know, Ian and I were at the studio today, and we were talking about. I was sending him videos for this, and we started the conversation about TikTok. So, how many years ago was it, Ian? Like 3 or 4 years ago when we were in New Zealand?
Oh yeah, I think 2019. Right?
Yeah, so back in 2018, 2019, when TikTok kind of was just really coming out and people were starting to hear about it, he and I were laughing at how ridiculous it was. Like, it was like, you know, it was like Twitter for video, like super short 5-second videos, you know? But now, I mean, I have to admit, TikTok came into its own. Like they were smart enough to extend the amount of time that people can make videos. And it's actually pretty interesting. I find a lot of really good content on TikTok. I'm shocked I'm saying this because the first wave of content on it was horrible. And there still is a bunch of crap content on there, but there is a lot of good, interesting content.
There's a cursed segment of TikTok that you just want to go into.
My girls loved Vine before TikTok.
Yeah.
These were 6-second videos. And
there's good science communication in there, though.
Yeah, there was it's interesting to think, what can you accomplish? What, you know, storytelling can you accomplish in 6 seconds? And a lot of it was crap, obviously, but there's some gems hidden in there. It was interesting.
Every once in a while, like something awesome would come out.
What I remember is a frog on a paper sailboat in a pond, just moving slowly across the screen while sailing away plays in the background. It was a stupid little thing, but it was hilarious. There was just something about it that was just so awesome.
It struck a chord.
Yeah. Right.
Ian, hit us up with another one.
I think that was all the ones that you gave me, right?
It was? Okay, yeah. I thought
there was the quick change one, but I didn't actually download that. It was kind of long, and I don't want to get hit by America's Got Talent is maybe a little...
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I'll tell you guys what it was. You could see it. This woman does this quick change outfit act that was on America's Got Talent that Bob or I sent to each other.
Yeah.
And she changes like a full costume change. She does about 10 changes in a minute. And
each change takes less than like a quarter second. Like, bam!
No, it just happens. Yeah, like you just all of a sudden she's wearing a different outfit. Like she'll pull up a thing and drop it real quick, and you know she's in a different outfit. There was one part where the wardrobe she was wearing literally gets pulled off of her body magically. Like, you know, it was an incredible effect. I don't know how they do it, but it was really cool.
I know how they did that one because you saw the dress on the hanger, and that dress seems to fly towards her, and her dress flies off. So and it flew onto her. So there was actually somebody behind the set who actually who pulled it off of her and off of the rack, and that was the most impressive one. She was amazing. She was one of the, you know, I'm not too familiar with the best quick change magicians out there, but she has got to be one of the top ones.
Is that all like inattentional blindness or something?
No, she's basically, she walks on stage with like 7 outfits on, and she also can tailor and make dresses and stuff. So she makes these dresses out of very super thin material that can be taken away super fast. But your eyes, if she covers it well, you just like, how did that happen? It's really like, holy crap, that's like, it seems like real magic. What's going on there? If it's done well, and she did it very well.
Someone asked in the chat if any of us have seen the trailer for the Wheel of Time?
I haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen it.
I have. It looks epic. It looks really, really good. I mean, it's essentially, I think a lot of streaming channels are trying to develop their Game of Thrones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good luck.
And hey, do it, to give it your best shot.
Sure, so man. Just don't screw up the last season.
But the Wheel of Time, it looks like it has great cast. The special effects look awesome. The trailer was very, very impressive. Obviously you can make a good looking trailer out of crap, but we'll see. And of course, I'm really looking forward to Foundation. Foundation as in terms of series, and again, acting amazing. The trailer looks epic. I just reread the entire Foundation series, not the prequels, but starting with Foundation and all the way to the end, which I think is Foundation on Earth.
I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it.
I mean, you got to sort of be dedicated early on, but I was fascinated just with the time capsule aspect of it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be.
You can't look at it like a new book that just came out. If you were judging it based upon modern standards, you'd be like, this is crap, because it is crap, by modern standards, because it's not modern. It was the first two books were written in the 1940s, and you can totally tell that they were written in the 1940s. But if you just sort of accept that as part of the the history of the series, the storytelling is still great. And then as it gets later on, obviously it catches up a little bit to modern times. And Asimov comes into his own more. You could also see not just that it was written in the 1940s, you could also see that this is an early work of Isaac Asimov. Like, his writing chops were not there yet. What we think of like his full-blown writing chops. He had some great ideas, but don't go into it thinking this is going to be epic science fiction. No, it's actually you're getting a window into the early work of a very dated piece of science fiction.
But who knows what they've done to
I'm sure they'll totally modernize.
No, they've tried to adapt it for a long time, and no one could do it because it's really challenging to adapt it for a number of reasons. Partly because it spans so much time.
You don't have one character going through the whole thing.
Generations,
but that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't have cool technology.
So I think I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to adapt it, because it's definitely, I'm never a purist. Like, when there's an adaptation from one medium to another medium, you can't be a purist. They've got to do it exactly like I imagined it while I was reading the book. Forget that. You have to change it to make it fit the new medium. And they are going to have to slice and dice the Foundation series, the book series, in order to make it work as a screenplay and do it. I'm looking for really do not hold back. Screw the purists. Do whatever you have to do to make it work as a screenplay.
Like, for example, Steve, I guarantee you there's going to be advanced computers in Foundation
from day one.
Day one. He doesn't have it in the early Foundation.
The first two books, there are no computers. It's a completely analog world. It's like jarring to a post, digital
but those are the changes
reader.
You have to make.
But even Asimov himself retconned that in the later books. He tried to make it pretend like they were there the whole time, kind of thing in the later books. But and so I think that essentially what they should do, and I hope that they did do, and I suspect they probably did do, was like not try to adapt the first book from the first book, but to adapt the whole series from the whole series. So you're basically including ideas that Asimov introduced later in the series into the early seasons. It's because basically it's like if Asimov had written the entire series
again in the 80s or 90s.
Again in the 80s or 90s, what would it have been like? And I think doing that would be, you have to do that, in my opinion. You can't have these 1940s characters in the, that Asimov couldn't tell that they were 1940s characters because he was embedded in 1940s culture. And, looking back, it's just crazy. It's like we just rewatched Forbidden Planet. And, it was fun. It's campy. It's a fun movie. There's some great science fiction ideas in there, and the story is fascinating. but it's blatantly obvious that it was produced in the 50s.
There was a cringe moment in that movie.
There's cringe moments.
Really?
There's like rapey scenes, and then
the way that they treated
some characters are like right off of a World War II naval ship. Just really silly.
I agree with that. Yeah. That was the most blatant stuff. But otherwise, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
More so than very entertaining.
More so than any other science fiction from the 50s, except maybe War of the Worlds. I mean,
War of the Worlds is also, for nostalgic reasons, just epic. But
it's
the thing is, what's interesting to think about with the evolution of science fiction is that it took a while before science fiction matured to the point where you could produce something that is timeless, right? Like it is not dated by if you watch it 30 years later. Like if you watch Aliens now, you wouldn't think, that it's clear this was made in the 80s or 90s or whatever.
Yes, you're right.
It's not already dated.
But while we were watching it, I was saying to myself, if you cut out the scenes where they're just simply treating women like they treated women in the 50s, right? Like if you cut out that part of it and you tighten up the editing, because it definitely had a long kind of feel to it. If you tightened up the editing, they did a fantastic job. There was real moments of totally legit drama and intrigue, and even fear. Like it gets scary in a couple of spots.
Yeah, so it did.
Such an incredible achievement for
I love it, man.
What I'm looking forward to, guys, is
The Matrix.
I'm looking forward to The Matrix. I'm looking forward to Dune.
About?
Dune is supposed to be off the hook, but what I'm looking forward to technology-wise, and I think we're sort of there, but when we fully get there, where we could remake a movie from the original content. So digitally remaster, not only just remaster like the Forbidden Planet, but change the dialogue, change the editing, swap out all new special effects. Imagine Forbidden Planet with modern special effects.
Remake that bastard.
And
do it.
But using the original footage, though, using the actors.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
But just re-edit, remake it, and you could change scenes that need to be changed. You could change dialogue with the deep fake kind of technology that you need to change. You know what I mean? Make it into a modern version of itself, but with the same actors.
That would be very cool.
Really cool.
I would love to see somebody do that to the first 3 Star Wars movies because they sucked.
What the hell did you just say? Wait. While
1, 2, 3, Jay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. When you said the first 3, you can easily be misinterpreted.
Context,
as 4, 5,
please,
and 6.
brother.
Oh my
no,
God.
4, 5, and 6 are awesome.
You're trying to give me between you and Joe Rogan. I'm going to die early death over here.
The way it breaks down is 4, 5, and 6. The first 2 that were made are awesome, epic, science fiction movies, and they do have a timeless quality to them. 7, 8, and 9 are just horrible, and 1, 2, and 3 is a missed opportunity. There's great storytelling to be had there. They have some great battles. There's there's stuff I love about it. I love Obi-Wan, and if you look at there's sort of re-editing of it, that people have done. There's good storytelling in there, but just the overall editing, a lot of choices that were made, like Jar Jar. The music was bad. Yeah. They blew certain reveals. I mean, that's a trilogy of movies crying out for a re-edit and a remastering.
Yeah.
And, I would love to see that too. I would love to see it because you could do it.
I had this ridiculous fantasy before we found out that Disney and Kathleen Kennedy, completely totaled the franchise. I'm sure there's people out there that want to disagree with me, but in my opinion, they totally destroyed Star Wars until The Mandalorian happened. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, oh man, because they're going to have their hands on all of the previous films, like they could actually, de-specialize 4, 5, and 6, and maybe even do a little legit enhancing to 4, 5, and 6 to make to modernize them a little bit. I think the editing that was done on Star Wars Movie 4 was inspired. I mean, it was truly fantastic edit, but there are some things that could be made better, like the lightsaber fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, you know, they didn't know when they made Star Wars, Lucas didn't know his lore completely, right?
Yeah, you're retconning that as well. You're saying now that everything is fully imagined and fully realized, how would we go back and redo that? And we talked about this before, that remake of the Darth Vader Obi-Wan fight in Episode 4 with modern CG, and the fight as it should have been, given how powerful they were with the Force.
Yep.
And it's awesome. It's unbelievable. I would love to see the whole movie redone that way.
Yep.
But that scene
with the same actors, right? That's what I mean. You don't remake the movie; you just remaster it. But
that scene,
we're getting so close to that, Steve.
Yeah,
like there isn't a lot of Force use in movie 4. That's one of the things that actually I find very charming about movie 4 is that the Force is there. It's super mysterious.
Yeah,
and it's not overused. It's like the shark in Jaws, which is another. That's another story. We've talked about that too. But the point is, like, that moment between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan ended up being, after the whole story was created, this profound freaking reunion between two people who have an immense history with each other. Now, the people that created, the actors that played those characters in movie 4, when they shot it, had no idea of any of that. The intent was didn't exist in the actors' minds, in the director's mind. It wasn't there. So that's why that reimagining of that scene blew my mind, because it pulled all those threads, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me started. Can we talk about the Matrix real quick?
What's the deal with that?
Ian.
Defense of Jar Jar, as people pointed out, he's actually a Sith. So I know.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny.
It's a fun theory.
Fake theory.
It's real.
And he was a Sith Lord.
Well, did you guys ever see the? Oh, Bob, remember the pictures I showed you? I don't know if I could find them quick. Some artist made a real scary version of Jar Jar Binks. Like, this is what Jar Jar should have looked like.
I saw
and
that.
Oh man, did you see it, Ian? I have to find it.
I'll find it.
Yeah, it's such an awesome job of like what.
See, that's what I mean. Jar Jar is entirely CG, so you could reimagine that species. You could redo the dialogue so he's not talking like an idiot, and it would transform that movie. It would transform that movie.
Yeah, one of the people in the chat said that the actor that played Jar Jar got slammed pretty badly for years for playing. That's ridiculous. First of all, that guy, one of the best days of that actor's life is when he got accepted to play a character in a Star Wars movie. Taking it out on the actors is a horrible thing to do. Like, those people, like, they don't deserve it. They're walking in thinking, I'm going to be in a Star Wars movie. It's going to be epic. And then the actors end up having their lives get screwed up because fans don't like it. There it is. Check that out, guys.
Wow.
Yeah,
would that be amazing? Doesn't that fit the Star Wars universe much better?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so freaking cool. Yeah, we need more of that. Anyway, if you're listening to this and not watching the video, you got to look up that. I don't even know how what's the artist name, Ian?
Let me see if I can find it.
Just so
the Darth Vader Obi-Wan fight.
No, both of those would be great to mention. All right, let's click over real quick.
I think it's by Kevin Cassidy. It seems like.
Yep, I think that's who it is.
Kevin Cassidy.
Look at all of his artwork. It's really fantastic. So I saw the Matrix movie 4 trailer, and it totally confused me, obviously, because they don't want to give away what the real story is. So we're seeing things. You're like, what's happening? What's going on?
Is Neo in it?
Yes, all the characters are in it apparently.
How far along are they?
It's done.
Yeah, it's coming out.
Shot. It's shot.
I'm watching it right now.
So it makes you have more questions than answers. Of course, I mean, no trailer should ruin anything. I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, man. I mean, they screwed up movie 2 and 3 as far as I'm concerned. The Matrix 1, in my opinion, is a perfect film. It's perfect. Everything about it, every decision that they made, I think is fantastic. I mean, that movie changed science fiction, changed the world. It sunk into collective consciousness. It was that good. To try to bring it back, it seems very dangerous. I hope they don't do any more damage to the brand. You never know.
All right, I'm watching a bit of the trailer. It seems to me, well, I don't know if I want to speculate about what's going on there, but you're right, Jay. What's funny, I watched The Matrix with my daughters when they were age appropriate, and they were just not blown away by it. And
really,
yeah, they liked it. But they were like watching like the bullet scene and the opening scene, like where she jumps up.
This was the first time that was ever done.
I know the thing. They're like, oh, I've seen that a million times. Like, girls, you don't get it. This was the first time a movie did that. They were so used to it now, it had no impact.
You're talking about bullet time.
Yeah, the whole thing, the whole new vibe, that Matrix, the bullet time, the freeze frame where they rotate the 3D rotation of the perspective, and just the look and feel of the movie. It was played out for them because it's kind of like the other thing. Like, remember the 300? It was like the 300 was the first movie where they did the shift to slow motion. Maybe it wasn't the first one. It's the first one I'm aware where they did this in a modern film. Where remember during the fight scenes, they would suddenly be in slow motion and then regular speed again. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. But then a lot of people started replicating that. They did it in Night at the Museum. They do it.
Steve, these things go into video games and cartoons.
I know.
It's everywhere. I mean, every freaking modern cartoon has done something from the Matrix.
Exactly. That's my point. They also they were completely unfazed by the fact that Darth Vader was Luke's father.
Yeah.
Completely zero reaction. They're like, oh yeah, I pretty much figured. Why'd you figure that? How did you possibly figure that? But they've absorbed all of this from the culture, and to them, it's like just part of it's part of the background now. They don't realize this is where it comes from, girls. This was the movie that innovated that look and style and technique that you
the
now.
Genie's out of the bottle, though. Because they have absorbed that vibe, they can't. They don't know what they were watching.
Yeah.
So there's no Morpheus?
No, they have Morpheus, but they have another actor.
Well, that's horrible. And what about what's his name?
Lawrence Fishburne?
No. The other. Oh God.
You mean Neo?
No, the main agent. Come on.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, geez.
It's Smith.
Yeah. Come on.
I don't know, Bob. I don't know if he's in it. I don't know.
I didn't see. Hey, if he's not in the trailer, then he's not in the movie. I'm sorry.
You never know.
Because that would be.
All right, let's get to the quiz.
Part of it looks good.
Kind of a funny tweet that came out of this. I'll post this. It's
Hugo Weaving. Yes,
goofy,
I love Hugo.
Let's see.
How does a Matrix movie work in 2021? I'm supposed to be scared of living in a fake reality, trapped forever in 1999. Shit, frost my tips and log me in.
I think it's shit, frost my tips, but there you go.
Hey, let's get to the quiz.
All right.
We got a quiz.
I didn't set it up, actually. Give me a second.
I love Hugo Weaving. I think that guy is brilliant.
Oh, man. He was a critical part of that movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. His disdain for humanity was so sweet.
It's the smell. He literally says that humanity stinks in a digital world, right? What a cool idea. Brilliant writing. That movie has an amazing amount of Easter eggs. If you ever want to have a good time, look up a list of Matrix movie Easter eggs. The writers and directors.
The original Matrix.
The original Matrix. They did all the movies have them, but yeah, the first movie has a ton of Easter eggs in it. It's really cool.
Man, I hope they have a lot of Sentinels in that damn movie. I need Sentinels in my life. More Sentinels. They are wicked. I love them.
While we're waiting for the quiz to manifest, what are you guys doing this weekend? You're going away, Steve, you said.
No, it's next weekend.
That's next weekend.
Well, Steve, thanks. I'm working at the Haunt tomorrow. The Forest of Fear. And then Sunday is Olivia.
Yeah, my daughter's birthday party.
Olivia's birthday party.
That's what it was. I'll be at your house celebrating your daughter's, 6th birthday?
Yes, my little girl is 6 years old. The time is every parent knows this. It's like the time is on a rocket that is flying by in front of your face. Like it just goes by so epically fast. Man.
Jay, I'm going to wear my Audrey hat.
Cool.
And here's another Audrey I made.
There's a link, everybody. It's all right. It wasn't.
I made this Audrey plant.
Seymour.
And I don't even have to feed it.
Just blood.
Well, once a month. Just
Spoilers. Spoilers. Sorry, everybody. Darkenergy.games. Everybody go there. It wasn't created before, so you got to go back if it wasn't showing up. We have our own internal link. Got our 5 questions like before.
I have to, I think tomorrow morning I will be manning my chainsaw and getting rid of that tree that fell down in my yard.
Excellent.
I don't know about you guys, but whenever I use a chainsaw, I am literally afraid the entire time I'm using it.
Good. You need healthy respect.
I never get relaxed.
Oh my God, man!
Where I'm like,
no juggling.
Cool. No.
JR, I want to figure out even more. I had a patient.
Oh no!
Who was using like a circular chainsaw. You ever see one of those things?
Yes.
Like it's a handheld saw, but it's a circular blade.
Wow.
Yes, it's on the end of the blade is huge. It's on the end of a pole, right?
It's super powerful, and it kicked back right into his chest, cut into him, and like stopped a centimeter above his heart.
Oh my God!
And he survived.
Centimeter.
Now, what do? Do you pull it out with a pair of pliers? Like
that's trauma. That's not my specialty. But I was seeing him after, long after.
But it's a good rule of thumb. If something gets stuck inside of you, don't pull it out.
Don't pull it out. You'll bleed to death.
It's called a tamponade. Leave it in there. Let the experts deal with it.
It's a James Bond tool or something. It makes me very scary. Cuts right out of the jerky, boys. Can we do this game?
Yes. You guys have the link. There's also...
I have the chainsaw protective pants. I have all the protective gear.
Yep.
Good, Jay.
I walk out like I'm going to the moon. I have everything. I got the arm guards, the gloves, the pants, the face mask with the ear protection. I mean, it's, I'm inside that shit.
All right. If we're ready to synchronize, when I say click, count down from 5, and we'll hit the synchronize button. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, click. A couple stragglers in there I see joining.
Here we go.
My time difference is negative.
Negative.
I have 0.
Zero.
I think I did it a nanosecond too early.
Did you sneaky?
I hit. When I hear click, I click it.
You click too fast. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's any questions. All right, remember everybody post your latency. Go ahead.
I always find it interesting.
Some guy 20 effing seconds.
Well, the fact that we are sitting in our homes and this stream is going out to everybody. It's available everywhere on the planet.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is freaking amazing. We should never let that feel like it isn't amazing.
Our kids don't think it's amazing. That's just the world they live in.
Yeah, I know. Because the
world they've always lived in.
Yeah.
They think it's amazing that there was ever a time when that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I love telling them about that. Like, they don't realize we're driving somewhere. It's like, when I was your age, we'd have to break out a map, a physical piece of paper
map,
and visually find the path that we had to go. And it's just like they're blown away by it. They had no idea, really, that they sort of know, but it's like they don't really appreciate like what it was like.
I remember being overjoyed that I could print out specific turn-by-turn
directions.
Any point A to any point B. It's like, yep, it's right there. Just look at it while I'm driving. Yep. Okay. Yep. Take it right there. I'm surprised it didn't kill myself. Not only the way there, but the way home as well. It was great.
Missing an exit back in those days was a horrifying experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have no phone, so remember that. No phone. You're maybe someplace you don't know where you are, and you're going by a physical map, and then you're looking for side roads, to so you can locate where you are, right?
Yeah.
So
I got to find a phone now and call them, tell them I'm going to be late.
Yeah.
Jeez, give me a break.
But who do you call?
That would
right. Like you might not know the number of the place that you were going to meet.
That would make a fun video. Shoot a video of people using a paper map. Don't, of course, edit it to where all the turns are and everything. Like, how hard would it be?
Yeah.
To use a paper map today. Just get in the car and be like, I'm going to drive 3 states away.
That's definitely a game show. It's like you take young millennials and have them navigate the world pre-digital.
Yes.
And see I remember somebody did that with a rotary dial phone. They just gave a rotary dial phone to a bunch of millennials and said dial the number, and they didn't know how to do it. They couldn't do it.
Yep.
They just didn't know the way it worked. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
Hey, in defense of my generation, it was Zoomers. Okay.
Yes.
Or whatever.
TikTok Zoomers.
All right, let's play.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Here we go.
These kids today.
And away we go. Did it start? Yes. Okay. Dogs are able to detect what with their noses? Vibrations, light, heat, or movement?
Any of you guys ever hear about this?
No.
I have a vague memory. That we'll see if it's correct.
In about 7 seconds.
I think dogs are the best people on the planet.
They're amazing.
They truly are remarkable creatures.
Ooh, I got it.
Yeah, so my vague memory was correct.
So,
I know dogs evolved to be awesome, to just be like these sweet, loving, companions to humans. Like no other animal on the planet has that temperament.
That's right.
For those who listen, hold on, it's heat. Number 3. Heat.
Thank you,
is
Ian.
the answer.
Yeah, and they can do it because a blind dog can still track an animal.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Go ahead.
What is the main purpose of a plant's flower? To soak up water, to attract insects, to collect sunlight, for reproduction.
When I prepare these quiz questions, I often think about you guys and like who would get the answers correct, who would know it. And for some reason, I thought that Bob would know the answer to this question. And the answer is...
Stand by. And just let it go a couple seconds longer.
Yeah.
It is for reproduction.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with that, Jay.
I looked it up.
Yeah, but it
is attract insects.
It's to attract insects for reproduction. But the primary purpose is to attract insects.
Yeah, I picked to attract insects. I know some of them have patterns like that are in UV that bees can see, but humans can't even see. But all right, whatever.
I can test that one.
Plenty of people are agreeing with me. Actually, one person is agreeing.
Where does the pollen go in the other plant? Okay. Well, anyway, here we go. Which is the most sensitive of the senses for humans, presumably? Hearing, sight, touch, or taste?
That's kind of vague, but I'm assuming by taste you don't mean smell.
I said taste.
Yeah.
Now 2 people agree with me.
What, Jay? Man, your eyes can see on the level of. Oh wait, tell me when we could talk about it.
We could talk about it. Go ahead.
It's not sight. I mean, in some scenarios, you could sense 1 photon. I've read, or a couple of photons. Man,
Jay, you could see stars that are light years away.
Guys, I'm not an expert on this. I used the expertise of the internet to find out this answer. So, like,
the answer apparently is hearing. Hearing, apparently.
Yeah, the most sensitive. How are you comparing that across senses? That's vague.
That's for the experts to decide. I'm not qualified.
The astronomical unit, AU, is a unit of measurement based on the average distance between what 2 bodies? The Sun and Pluto, the Sun and Jupiter, the Earth and Moon, the Sun and Earth.
I'm thinking this was the gimme.
In the future, I would be wary of questions that don't have a clear objective answer. Like,
I know, but when you're trying, I've been doing this for a long time. It's hard to continue to try to come up with novel things, and So the answer is
just giving you a note, Jay.
It's fine.
The answer is the Sun and Earth.
93 million average.
Yeah, I put in questions that I think a lot of people would get, simply because I want people who don't know the answer to learn the fact. This is an important thing for everybody to know.
Plus, you want people to feel good. They just got one correct.
What are chitterlings? Or chitlins, sometimes people call it. A South American frog that is orange and yellow. Fairy-like creatures which supposedly live in caves.
That's my fault.
Small insects that live on farm animals or the intestines of a pig.
Got that one.
Yeah.
I think you did.
Yeah, I know.
The answer is the intestines of a pig, also known as chitlins.
Was that a hard question or no? Just
it was. I wasn't sure until Ian said the pronunciation that I was used to.
Yeah, it's actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. Chitlins.
Chitterlings.
That's kind of like.
Yeah. So when I've
had them before. They're pretty good.
I read the word and I'm like, it sounds like a creature, doesn't it? Completely.
Yeah,
it does. It does.
So I thought
I wouldn't eat it.
All right, so got everyone correct except for the two that Jay got wrong.
I am going to let the audience do some research and let them figure it out because at least everyone will learn something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I completely love our live stream audience. I love these people because they're funny, they're interesting, they're interacting with each other. Like they all kind of know each other now, which is so cool.
And thank you to everybody who did the super chats. I know I didn't click on them, but thank you.
Let's see what we got here. Okay, so we only got 4 100s today. Is that my fault? Lots of 80s, lots of 60s, a lot of 40s, and a medium amount of 20s. So pretty good spread. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll admit a couple of the questions are subjective, but I mean, I checked in a few different places. You know, with the hearing thing, like if I see it in 3 websites, I'm gonna.
Jay, but I've learned because I do this every week when I do science or fiction. That means jack and shit because the problem is all of those websites are reproducing it from the same
themselves.
sources.
Yeah,
and so you can't. You got to get to a primary source. If you're just looking, all the way, I found myths that everyone is reproducing.
I mean, but Steve,
I hear you.
But somebody takes the time to type it on the web. What are you saying? It's wrong. You're right. I know. There's times when I like last week, I had a lot of time to do the quiz questions. I leaned into it. I spent an hour on those quiz questions. Tonight, I had 15 minutes. I had to get it out there for the people. It's for the people, Steve.
For the people.
So like if you put in like what's the main function of flowers, it does say a lot of references say reproduction, but when you read the text it says by attracting insects. That's their function to attract insects, which serves the purpose of reproduction.
So that makes it ambiguous. Reproduction. It's not. That one is not ambiguous. It is for reproduction. The mechanism is attracting insects, but the ultimate reason is reproduction.
But
thank you.
Yeah, you can make that argument.
You can't make that argument. But you said it's ambiguous. You said the main function. So is that the one that they actually do, or the consequence of what they do?
I want everybody that's watching this live stream right now to look at me. Let
me full screen you just for
okay.
Clarity.
I'll give you a second. Imagine being Steve's brother. Yeah. Imagine it. Imagine the shit that Bob and I have to go through, the number of times we have to be corrected. He's always smarter than us.
I don't want to imagine it. I don't want to imagine it.
Am I right? I adore you, but it's hard. You're always right. You're always right.
I don't feel that exactly that way, Jay, because he doesn't correct me quite as much.
I know, but
Bob stays within his lane. That's why.
Steve is head and shoulders more intelligent than me, and it's funny because I'm just an emotional based person. Steve is an intellectual based person. Together we make Voltron.
And I'm kind of in the middle, you know.
Jay, I'm an academic. Like taking tests and giving tests is part of my career.
Totally right.
And that's a question that I would absolutely not allow on a test, just because so there are questions that are designed to test what you know, and there are questions that are designed to test what you don't know.
Yep.
And there are questions which are designed to trip you up, right? And those are the worst ones. Questions should be designed to test what you know.
Yep.
And that I felt that question was there to trip you up. If there's a question where like the more you know, the more likely you are to get it wrong, that's not a good question.
You're correct.
That happens to me a lot on science or fiction, by the way.
It does.
Somebody said Bob is a Halloween-based person. That's awesome.
Wait, where's that? I want to copy that. There it is.
Shall we
have a couple
do some questions? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have to go very soon because I have to go pick up.
Okay, this is an easy one
before the pharmacy closes, so I have to leave. Very soon.
This is an easy one. I think open for everybody. What bird do you like the most and is friendly, and what bird would you say is evil?
So does the bird I like the most have to be friendly?
I guess not, but they did technically say that. But you could go with.
I mean, I think bald-headed eagles to me are the coolest looking birds. They're badass. They're epic raptors. They're tall. They're really big. They're way bigger than you think they are. And I just think
raptors are my favorite birds. I mean, I think I would, and of course, bald-headed eagles are gorgeous. Golden eagles are a little bit, more gorgeous in my opinion. Golden eagles,
they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're really beautiful. And then what's the evil? The evil bird is European starlings.
Geese.
European starlings.
I agree with you too, Steve. But geese go out of their way to shit where you want to be, and when they shit, they're also dropping feathers. So it's like being tarred and feathered by a goose. So they're nasty bastards.
But at least you can eat them.
My favorite bird is terror birds. That's my answer to every favorite bird. Terror birds.
Nice.
How about what's your favorite extant bird?
Oh,
eagles are pretty. I saw when you see an eagle 10 feet away, it's just like
raptors are just gorgeous.
They're ridiculous. My God, they're amazing.
Eagles are huge. They're like 4 feet tall.
It's their size that just like is like shocking.
Yep.
I mean, owls are pretty awesome too.
Yes, owls are the top three. Owls are top three.
Yeah, owls
gorgeous.
People are still agreeing with me in the chat, Steve. By the way,
that makes you feel better, Jay. That's fine.
What about the shoebill stork?
One more question, and then I got to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Next question. Oh boy, here we
go.
So Skeptic Brand was saying that yes, Steve broke her heart that the pawpaws have neurotoxins.
Yes,
pawpaw, but she threw out 8 jars of pawpaw butter.
Oh, I didn't tell you to do that, but yes, they do have.
I'm so sorry.
They do have a toxin in them.
She wrote us, asked Steve, "Can I eat this?" And I wrote back. I said, "I don't know. I know that it's mostly safe, but I wouldn't eat it." And she threw the jars away.
I mean, it's all about the dose, right? I mean, there's concern if you eat a lot of it, right? If you have like an occasional pawpaw, it's probably not a problem. But
dose makes the poison.
I personally tend to stay away from neurotoxins myself.
Yeah, me too.
Isn't nutmeg a neurotoxin?
I don't know.
I
know in high doses nutmeg has some toxicity.
Yeah, something happens.
Yeah, okay.
In high doses, water will kill you.
Did you ever see people try to eat a big spoonful, like a tablespoonful of cinnamon?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
they have anticholinergic effects. Yeah,
it gets bad. All right, I have to run. Okay. I had a great time tonight.
We'll see you guys
next week. If you want to support the SGU, become a patron. You can go to patreon.com/Skeptics Guide. We have tickets available for 2 shows coming up in Denver. Go to our website, theskepticsguide.org/events for our 2 shows. The extravaganza is sold out, so we have tickets for 2 shows in Denver.
Well, 1 in Denver, 1 in Fort Collins.
Yeah,
they're in Colorado.
He's correct, Colorado. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for coming. We will see
everyone.
you all next week.
See you guys.
Oh, and go to our Boomer versus Zoomer page.
Yes, do that too.
Yes, on our YouTube.
On the YouTubes and stuff. I'll post.
Thanks, Ian.
Bye bye.
Bye guys.
Bye guys. Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.